In this video, we're talking all about Disneyland and Walt Disney World. I have Mr. and Mrs. Slimer in the house with me today. Kaitlyn is returning, and we also have the Italiano up next on OG55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. We have a fantastic panel today. We're talking all about the West Coast, the East Coast, and no, we're not talking about...
Yeah. Oh, so y'all ain't gonna let nobody disrespect the West Coast, huh?
We're not talking Kendrick today. We are talking theme parks today. But before we get started, the Italiano, if you could let everybody home know where they could find you on social media, sir.
You had to, didn't you? Because you didn't get a chance to do it, so you thought, you know what?
I love my Kendrick drop. Whenever I find an opportunity. But if you let everybody home know where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There he is. And down below, we have Mr. and Mrs. Slimer. Welcome to the show.
Hello. How are you?
Doing good. Slimer, if you want to introduce your lovely wife.
Yeah, so this is Mrs. Slimer. She's my wife.
There she is. There she is. And welcome to the show, Miss Slimer.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Slimer and Mrs. Slimer. If you could let everybody home know where they could find you on social media. And Mrs. Slimer, if you don't want to share your social media, you don't have to. I'm, put it out there if you want to. But go ahead, Slimer.
Yeah, so you can find me on X at SlimeSquare84, and I am a contributor right here on Orange Grove 55. If you want to send Mrs. Slimer a personal message, it's got to come through me, all right? So watch out.
There we go. And Kaitlyn back on the channel. It's good to see you, Kaitlyn.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
It's really good to see you. If you could let everybody home know where they could find you on social media.
Yep, mine's simple. I only have Instagram, and it's just Kaitlyn Aurelio, my first and last name.
Perfect. All right, let's dive right in. So first we'll start off with Kaitlyn. You recently went to Disneyland Resort for the first time ever, right?
Yep.
Okay. How was that? We haven't talked since you've been, so I'm very curious. What was the experience like overall,
I mean, overall, I really liked, I would say overall, like both parks, but California Adventure was by far the best. Disneyland, to me, I was honestly not super impressed with it. I kind of left Disneyland where I was like, I could have just bought the one park ticket instead of the park hopper.
Wow, that's amazing to me. Okay, so let's dive into that.
I just have a really quick question before we get to the DCA part. Did you have that expectation because of going to Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World, so it kind of has that comparison, and DCA was a completely different feel for you, or was it something completely different?
It was something totally different. I actually thought I would love Disneyland because I'd heard so many good things about it, and a bunch of my friends have gone and have loved it. So I had really high expectations, and maybe they were just too high. And then when I went, I did compare it a little bit to Magic, just because they both have the castles. So I think that also had something to do with it.
Our castle didn't really measure up, Kaitlyn. Yeah, that is kind of a thing. If you're used to Magic Kingdom Castle and you come out here and it's like, where is it? It's this little tiny thing out there in the
Magic Kingdom had a little thing called the Bibbidi Bobbidi Blue.
Yeah, the Bibbidi Bobbidi Blue pill, right? Exactly. So now, Miss Slimer and Mrs. Slimer, Miss Slimer, you have never been to Disneyland Resort. And Slimer, you have not either, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or have
No,
you?
I've been to I went to Disneyland in 2017.
Okay, so fair.
Yeah.
Okay, been a while, not like super, not like a huge amount of time. Okay.
It wasn't super recently, but it's stored in my more recent memory banks because I just love that trip so much.
But you never been to DCA though.
No, I never been to DCA. And honestly, when I was at Disneyland, I only rode like half the rides because we got there a little bit later. And there's, 90 attractions to do over there. So not everything was done.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now, how did that measure up for you in terms of, Disneyland compared to like say Magic Kingdom when you went back in 2017?
Well, I'll tell you, you really feel Walt's touch. That's for certain. There's no doubt in my mind that in terms of like which park had Walt's magic bing, touch to it, it was definitely Disneyland. I also liked how everything was more in proximity of each other too. But that also is a blessing and a curse because, as you guys know, Disneyland gets pretty crowded, especially in that New Orleans Frontierland area. It just turns into just a people. Whatever you want, a kebab, But the castle, while it wasn't as big, I did like the fact that Sleeping Beauty story was in it. But when I was in Disneyland, I was more so comparing the rides that we had here with the rides we have over there. So it wasn't so much like a park versus park, more as it was like a ride versus ride. And I'll tell you, like Disneyland's got Magic Kingdom on a couple of rides, like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a Small World. You guys have the Pinocchio storybook over there. Yeah. You guys still have Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. We don't have that over here anymore. That was replaced by Winnie the Pooh. But it's a cool park for me. I love it. It's very nostalgic. As somebody that's been going to Magic Kingdom since the 80s, I feel like I was able to go back and hit those old attractions that just haven't been here for decades now. So
no, Slimer, I don't know if you paid attention to it at the time when you were out there, but as far as like the architectural style of Disneyland as to opposed to Magic Kingdom, like with the brickwork, and they updated the Fantasyland from the 80s, and can you definitely tell a difference between just like walking through the park of how different it is to Magic Kingdom, if you can remember?
Yeah, no, you can definitely tell the difference between the architectural work in Magic Kingdom and Fantasyland. Fantasyland has a lot more detail, or Disneyland, in my opinion, has a lot more detail to it, whereas Magic Kingdom, it's really constructed to be more spacious and more spread out. Like if you think about Fantasyland and Kaitlyn, when you go to Fantasyland here in Magic Kingdom, it's really spread out. There's not really anything that attracts your attention architecturally because they kind of just want you to like move through the area and hit the attractions. Whereas when you go to Fantasyland and Disneyland, there's a lot of that shingle work that makes it feel like you're in like an 18th century village. And then, you go over to Toontown and again, there's a lot of that focus on the Imagineering. You don't get a lot of the focus on the Imagineering here like you do in Disneyland, but architecturally, yeah, that's what I would surmise is like the difference between the two is one has a very architectural center focus. One focuses more on like people distribution and getting people to go to different attractions and trying to create space, which is Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is a very space focused park compared to Disneyland.
Yeah,
and
it's
that's
very
because it was built 30 years later,
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
OG says it best. Disneyland Park is definitely Walt's Park.
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom is Roy's Park. You could see the difference of the parks based on the how the brothers were in real life, and then also too, I love the comparison that Magic Kingdom is the live action version of Disneyland.
Well, that was my impression of it, and I think it kind of depends too what you grew up with, because Kaitlyn had the exact opposite. Like you prefer Magic Kingdom, right, to Disneyland, Kaitlyn?
And I also think because as a whole, Disney World has like 4 of the parks, whereas in Disneyland you have California Adventure and Disneyland. So I was also thinking from a practical standpoint of how much money I spent compared to like how much I get in Florida if I were to buy, a one-day park hopper. And then, I think because I grew up with Magic Kingdom, I'm just so used to those rides there. So the same ones that Disneyland had, I didn't wait in line to go on those. So I actually can't compare the same rides. So for me, I just went on all the rides that Disney World doesn't have, like in Magic Kingdom. And I wasn't really impressed with the majority of them.
That's fascinating.
Now, can I ask you, so I take it you didn't go on Pirates of the Caribbean?
We were going to go on it because I did hear that one's better than Magic Kingdom's, but we also were trying to go to California Adventure, so we just opted out not to do any of the same rides.
I will say, when you do get another opportunity to go back, I highly recommend doing Pirates at Disneyland. it's basically the full experience as to oppose the one in Magic Kingdom, because I love the one at Walt Disney World. I always loved Pirates, and then when I went to Disneyland and rode that version and then went back to Walt Disney World, I was like, wait, like half of the story is completely missing. And, yeah.
When you could tell that our Pirates was built in a different era too, and not in a bad way. It really does, like, it's that slow burn buildup.
But I will say Magic Kingdom's Pirates queue line is
better?
Much better. Yeah.
Interesting.
I also will say I did love Indiana Jones. That was the highlight of Disneyland for me. Like, that was my favorite thing by far in that park.
Yes.
I was just going to ask you that with those Jeeps, it's like,
yes, me and my friends were like, this was the coolest thing. Yeah. So we really enjoyed that part.
Awesome. Okay. Now I want to ask you, what was it specifically about DCA that impressed you more than Disneyland? Like, what was the thing?
For me, definitely Pixar Pier. I thought that was the most magical thing I think I've ever seen. Me and my friends are big Pixar fans. So the Incredicoaster was incredible. And the day we went, there were no lines for anything. So we just kind of waited 20 minutes. And to me, like, that's nothing for Disney. So I think that's what made it even more enjoyable, was just the fact that you could go on the ride and just keep going on it. And then going on the Ferris wheel, like, there was no line for that. So I just think getting to hit everything on the pier with no wait times at all, like, was the perfect combination.
So would you consider yourself more of like, you like thrill rides and stuff like that, like coasters, and a little bit more of the, okay.
Yeah, so I'm more of a roller coaster person than like the sit down rides.
That makes sense then. I can see why you would be more drawn to DCA then, because it has a little bit more of an edge to it, in that regard. So that makes sense. It has
Guardians and Cars, which were both super fun. So Cars is so different. My mom went there a few years ago, and she was like, that's what you have to do when you go to DCA. And I was very glad that we did that.
I will say that's what I love about DCA, because it does have that opposite effect that Disneyland has. So I don't want the same park over and over again. I want a completely different feel. And with me too, being a roller coaster thrill junkie, like, harness me into anything, I'll ride it. I don't care. Like, it's yeah. Because
we're not talking about your nighttime activities, George. We're talking about theme parks. I'm just kidding. I like to mess with George. Yeah. Go ahead, brother. I do apologize.
So what was I saying?
Are you off track now?
You were talking about how you were harnessed into a marriage?
Yeah, that too. I ejected that seatbelt up like crazy.
That's great.
But yeah, so I mean, I do love DCA. I have a special, different kind of love for it than, I do enjoy Disneyland. I do love the parks at Walt Disney World, but yeah, DCA kind of grew on me in time, especially with the 2.0 of DCA when we got World of Color, when they did update the pier. I will say, though, I do love the pier at night with all the lights and everything. It definitely makes DCA pop. And another favorite section of the park for me is Grizzly Peak. Grizzly Peak.
Yeah, that's a great. Did you go on that, Kaitlyn?
No, I didn't get to go on that one.
That one is kind of like, okay, so for reference, it's kind of like the Cali River Run in Animal Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
But it's more like bears because it's like California. So
I will say that, like, in comparison, I love Grizzly River Run much better because it has 2 drops. And I tell you what, the last time I went on, I don't know if it was just the position that I was sitting in, I literally got soaked. When I say soaked, like literally the water came up over the raft.
It's crazy. Yeah, that thing is. I think when I went on with you, I got pretty wet as well. That ride, if you get wet, you get wet. You're wringing your clothes out. It's not like a little bit. It's a lot, So that's crazy. Now, did you get a chance? You said you love the pier, and the pier is beautiful at night. Did you get a chance to check out World of Color?
No, we didn't get to check that out either.
Okay, it's a water show. It's kind of like. Man, it's hard to say. It's like, if you're familiar with like the Bellagio, the fountain show they have there, it's like that, but with colored fountains. And then they have like the Phantasmic style mist screens and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And the whole show is sort of based around the old classic Wonderful World of Color that Walt Disney would come out and host.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful show. It really is. They've changed it. I'm not a huge fan of the current rendition. I know, George, you're not a huge fan of that either. It's okay. It's okay. I don't know. They kind of throw some stuff in there. It's kind of weird, but yeah. But
I do miss the original.
Oh,
the
me
original
too.
was perfect.
It's perfect. Slimer, so when you were down here, you didn't go to DCA. Did you hit most of the rides in Disneyland though? Did you hit Indiana Jones and all that good stuff?
Indiana Jones was broken down, and as you guys know, it's pretty notorious for being down. And that's really the only reason I wanted to go to. I mean, other than going to Disneyland, but like, I walked in, I saw the castle, and I was just like, Indiana Jones. That was the first thing I wanted to ride. When we got there, it was broken, man. I was so pissed off. I mean, I wasn't pist off, but I was kind of disappointed.
Well, we have August. We have August.
Yeah. We have August. Yes. We have a couple of days to get it right. So
we're gonna get
down one day. We'll go to the next.
Exactly. We're gonna get Slimer on Indiana Jones. Kaitlyn can vouch now. She's been on it. She loved it. So, absolutely. So, George, how do you remember your first time at Disneyland? Right?
Yes. I was a late bloomer with Disneyland. I went for my 21st birthday. I actually did a 10-day Walt Disney World stay, and then I flew out to Disneyland for 7 more days. I did a 2.5 week birthday trip.
Damn,
that's crazy.
Yeah, and he still does that.
I still do that. That's actually nothing. I remember I did the triple threat. Let me see, how did I do? I did Walt Disney World. No, I didn't. No, I'm sorry. Disneyland, Walt Disney World, and a Disney cruise all in one trip.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he'll just extend his trip. Like he was down here recently, like a few weeks ago, and he's just like, "Hey, you know what, OG? I think I'll stay 3 more days." And I'm like, okay. I mean, that's cool,
And then there's times where it's like, "Do I have anything to do this week?" I'm like, "No," and then I get on the phone with OG. I'm like, I'm coming out for a week. I got nothing else better.
Yeah. So he's like kind of like, it's weird. He lives really far in Pennsylvania, but he's kind of like a local because you come out pretty often. And when you're here for like days and days and days and days,
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So Kaitlyn, what else about DCA did you like a lot? You like cars, you like Mission Break. Yeah, you want to talk about that? Because that ride is crazy.
That was so fun. I thought that was very cool.
Yes.
I liked how they did that. Because I think when my mom went, they were almost done with it, so she didn't get to ride it. So it was fun getting to like tell her about it afterwards.
And if you're a thrill junkie, that's the ride because that thing doesn't let up. It is insane.
No, I was really impressed with that. I really enjoyed how they did that ride.
Isn't it weird too? Because when they announced that, Kaitlyn, I was like, "What? How in the world are they going to do this?" Because it used to be Tower of Terror, the Hollywood Hotel. And I'm like, that's weird, right? But they just did a completely different vibe, and there's no like that slow burn with the tower and the tension and all that. They got rid of all that, and it's just more of like a fun vibe, which is interesting. Go ahead, George, if you want to say.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, I remember I went for opening day, May 27th, 2017, and the line for just to get a fast pass, because at the time they had the paper fast passes still at the kiosks, and people today are like, fast passes, paper, what is that? It's like, but the line started literally by the Oswald gas station as soon as you enter in. Whoa. Before you reach Buena Vista Street. So they took us down Hollywoodland and then through the backstage area that we had to circle all the way through just to come back around to go across from where the ride is, and that's where they had the kiosks.
That's
just to get one fast pass. But I was lucky because after the fact that I got that one paper fast pass, there was this little elderly woman that was standing out, and she had 3 fast passes that I guess that they stood in line and they didn't want to use them. So she just said, "I have 3 fast passes that we don't want. Does anybody want them?" You want to see someone push their way through a crowd? Like, I knocked people over for those.
Get out here, little kid. Little girl, move.
Oh, that's hilarious. George and I, you and I were in line for Mater's Junkyard Jamboree a few weeks ago, remember? Or I think when you came out in April, right?
Right.
And there was a family behind us. I kid you not. Remember this? Oh my God. I couldn't believe this. I was like this close to saying something. this close to saying something. There's a family behind us, and they're like convincing the dad. He's like an older guy too. He's like in his 60s, you know? And he's like an older dad, and they're like convincing the dad, like, oh, let's go on Mission Breakout. He's like, no, I don't like drops. And they're lying to him, like straight up lying to him. They're like, no, it's easy. You go up, you go up and down. It's real slow. There's no like fast drops. Right, George?
Yeah.
I was like, this is not okay. I really wanted to say something, but I stayed out of it. George was like, what is going on here? I still want to know what happened.
We were tempted to actually get off the ride and follow them, literally to see like how the outcome would have happened. Because
that's how you get OG on rides, right? Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's just
it's for research purposes.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like the storybook canal boats. No worries, no worries.
Yeah.
But that ride is pretty crazy. But yeah, it's intense, but people love it. It's become a fan favorite.
I will say really quick before you move on.
Sure.
I have seen, and I still love Tower of Terror. It's one of my favorite rides at Hollywood Studios. But I have felt a difference in the ride system because I'm so used to going on Mission Breakout a lot.
Yeah.
Because I feel that the ride system was updated and it's a little bit more intense. So when I go on Tower of Terror, it's like, okay, it's great. It's still a great ride, but I could definitely feel the difference.
So would you say your butthole doesn't pucker as much? The pucker factor is just not there anymore.
It's like,
it's not as tardy.
What
were you gonna say?
I forgot.
Miss Slimer, I wanted to say I love your guys' little doggy. Super cute. That's
Ethel.
Ethel?
Yeah.
Oh, so cute.
We have Ethel and Lucy. That was Ethel. She's the newest member of our family.
Very, very cute. Well, I'm a dog person too. I was actually going to ask you where Ethel came from. That makes sense. So it's after
streets. She came from the streets.
Oh, that's right. You found her.
Somebody
right?
knocked on our door and said, "Is this your dog?" And Slimer said, "Yes, yes, it is."
Did you just dox him? Oh my god!
Bye.
I will say though that sounds like a great I Love Lucy spinoff. Ethel from the Streets.
From the streets, yes.
Yeah, she's a hood rat.
Hood rat. That's great though. I remember Summer you telling us about that a few weeks ago. That's really cool. I'm glad you guys took her in. She's a cutie patootie.
She's adorable.
Yeah, we love her.
She won't be going to Disneyland anytime soon though, so I don't know how cool she is.
Oh man, you just pretend she's a what is that? A service dog or something.
There you go. She does look like an Ewok. I could put a little red bonnet on her, and she popped her head up like, red bonnet? Ewoks?
That's awesome. You are both your dogs? Are they both small, like little?
Yeah.
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 They're about the same size.
When Lucy comes around, I'll show her.
Okay, cool. Cool. When are you gonna get Fred and Ricky?
I got Ricky.
There is. Yeah. That's great. So, so Kaitlyn, I want to ask you this too, because Walt Disney World is such a massive place. Like when I went the first time back last summer, I was like kind of I knew it was big and everything, but until you experience it, it kind of like, is that Lucy?
This is Lou.
Oh, hey Lou. Oh, we love Lucy. We love Lucy.
Sorry, Kaitlyn.
So Kaitlyn, so for me being like a Disneyland West Coaster going to Florida, I was kind of shocked at how vast it was. Like we're on a monorail for like 15 minutes to get to Epcot, and the whole way we're over Disney property. It was kind of wild. Yeah. Out here in California, we don't have any of that. Was that kind of weird for you? Like how small it really is? Like even just the park hopping element and all that.
It was, it was nice. I thought it was super cool that one park was there. You had downtown Disney, then the other park. Like that was the smoothest park transition I've ever had. But it was weird. I was able to get almost everything done in one day, which obviously for Disney World, that's like impossible to do if it's your first time. Yeah. So it was kind of nice that I felt like I got to experience the majority of both of the parks in California compared to you would need at least 3 days, I feel like, to experience Disney World at its fullest.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, did you stay we don't really on property out here in California, like a Disney hotel, or were you off property?
I was off property. My uncle lives in California. He lives super close to Disneyland, so I was able to just stay with him, which made it super nice.
Oh, that is cool. That's very, very cool. Nice, nice. Now, Miss Slimer, I want to ask you. You say you've never been to Disneyland. Are you excited to eventually experience it? Are you curious or?
Yeah, because I want a sweatshirt that says Disneyland versus Disney World because it's the cuter logo. That's really the only reason. No, it's not the only reason, but yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah. No, you're right though. It is the cuter logo. We do have the better logo for sure.
I would rather wear Disneyland than wear Disney World.
Yeah, the Disneyland merch, I bought so much stuff when I was there. I thought it was way better than Disney World merch.
Soup's cute. Disney World, not so much.
Nice. So you did a lot of merch shopping out here in Cali, and so how was that whole experience? Because you guys have that massive Disney Springs thing. We got our little downtown Disney strip, you know. How was that though? I mean, the merch was better, but overall experience, how would that compare?
I loved that it was smaller. Disney Springs, I mean, I go there all the time, and I think because I know it so well, I kind of know the shortcuts, and it like doesn't stress me out. But I mean, if you're going there for the first time, I can't imagine how overwhelming that is because it's a lot of people and there's like 5 or 6 different parking garages, whereas downtown Disney was just so simple. You got there the same way as you got to the parks, and it was just like everyone was chill. No one was like rushing, like running, whereas Disney Springs is very chaotic. So it was like a nice chill vibe, which I really liked.
Yeah, it is more chill. George and I spent a lot of time in Disney Springs. Specifically, I always forget the name of that.
Paradiso 37.
There we go. I remember Paradiso, but I always forget the numbers. And that was a great little bar.
That's
a great little bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had fun in there. We had a few drinks and or maybe a lot of drinks.
We had the same waiter though the 2 times that we went because he recognized us.
Yeah, we did. He was like, yeah. we kept going back there. He was from South America, I think he said, right? Like
I think so. Yeah, Brazil or something.
Yeah. He was cool. I mean, and that's the other thing too with the cast members out there at Disney World. I was actually pretty impressed overall. I mean, at least from my experience, everyone seemed really friendly and helpful. You know. Mm-hmm. So, did you notice that too, Kaitlyn? I mean, in terms of Disneyland, or was it better out there in Florida?
I'd say they're pretty much the same. I thought Disneyland employees were super duper nice. Now, I will say the Universal in Hollywood compared to Universal Florida, very different. But Disney was the same with the employees.
Oh, so you went to Universal Hollywood?
Yeah, I did Universal Hollywood too.
Let's dive into that a little bit. How was that experience? Because that's really different. Like that's.
Oh, it's not even comparable. It's so different from
Which
Florida's.
one's better?
Definitely Florida, especially with Epic being built. It's going to make Florida even more better. But I mean, like the Nintendo Land was very cool. It was extremely chaotic, which I was expecting. But I went to Toadstool Cafe, if like you guys have been to it, and that was probably the worst experience. Only because they were understaffed that day. And so the lines were just insane. No one could find a table, but they kept letting people in. So you just had people standing by tables waiting for the people to be done to then be seated. So it's just like absolute chaos. And the whole thing probably took 5 hours from when we got in the queue to when we left. It was like a whole experience.
Wow. It took you for Toadstool, it took you like 5 hours?
From when we went into, because you scan the QR code and then it tells you time to come back. From the time we were told to come back, that's how long it took us, was the 5 hours.
That is crazy. And that place has issues. Like I've done that place twice now, and each time I've went, there was an issue with something. There's always a problem. It's great. And that's a shame too, because the food is really cool. It's like themed and everything.
Yeah,
it's really
and the inside was really cool. But I think just to get to that point, everyone was just so tired. I think by the time everyone sat down for their food, they just wanted to leave. So they couldn't fully enjoy it.
I don't think I could wait 5 hours to eat.
The only reason why I did it was my friend's birthday, and that was her one request for the entire day was to eat there. So we all just kind of stood in silence in the line because we were all hungry.
That sounds horrible.
Oh my gosh.
Sounds horrible.
It was tough, but we did do the studio tour, which I have a really fun story for that, because if you guys have been on the studio tour, they're very strict that you can't get out of the tram. And there's one portion of it where you get to go into like a King Kong simulation, and a guy jumped out during it.
What? During the King Kong scene?
Yeah. So they like completely stopped the whole thing. The guy that was our tour guide starts screaming on the intercom, like they call security. So the whole thing gets stopped. We have to wait for security to talk to him. And it was a whole thing. And then everyone was yelling at the guy because he ruined their experience.
It's like Impractical Jokers or something.
I was just gonna say I would have loved to have been there when Q kept on
pulling
the bar. He said there were people on there. He said he thought he was gonna lose his life that day. Because
bro, did you watch Impractical Jokers?
Oh hell yeah!
Oh, our friendship just got a lot closer.
It's a fantastic show. Although I am sad that Joe left.
That was so sad.
Yes.
Yeah.
I miss Joe. I
still miss Joe. I think about Joe every day when I wake up.
You too? Oh my god!
Yeah, we always debate on who our favorite is, and I mean, I don't ever know, but it might be Murr.
Yeah,
for me,
I like Murr.
Yeah, but I think of Joe every time I sit down on a toilet.
That's funny. So, yeah, Murr is pretty funny. They're all freaking funny. I like that. Like a long time ago, I think it was like one of the first seasons where Q shaved his head and they took his hair and made a wig out of it. And Murr had to wear it.
Yeah, that was
like the whole season.
Yeah.
Oh man! Wow, we have really digressed.
But they did a lot of mean things to Murr, way meaner than they did to anybody else. Ever.
Totally.
They were always the meanest to Murr.
It's because he looks like a little mouse man.
Little mouse man.
Although I will say though, the Jaden Smith tattoo on Sal.
Yeah, and he still has it, so that's the winner.
The funny thing about Sal that I love is he's a germaphobe, and
him
do the raunchiest. Like he'll have to stick his hands in the cow's butt or something,
yeah.
you know. And
but meanwhile, Murr's getting other people's hands stuck up his butt. He's the only one that gets violated hardcore. The other ones haven't ever been violated as hard as Murr. Like they go inside of Murr.
We got to do a whole show on Impractical Jokers.
100%.
Yes,
I'm down for that. I am so down for that. They are great. They are fantastic. It's like some of the best TV. It really is.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, that one episode. We're going so off the rails, but like that one episode, that one episode where Joe is like scooping the mashed potatoes and throwing it on people's plates. Have you seen that one?
Yes. In the restaurant, and then he like jump.
Boom! Oh, it's so funny. So funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Kaitlyn, back to
Universal.
Universal. So what attractions did you go on over there?
I think we did everything but Kung Fu Pandas.
Oh, okay. So that's pretty good.
We went there from opening to closing. So we were able to and we knocked Nintendo Land out first. So we did all of that. And then we just kind of made our way through the upper and lower level. So
what was your opinion of Mario Kart?
I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I love Mario Kart, so I was not sure how they were actually going to get you to be able to be immersed into it. I wasn't sure how that worked because I went in not seeing any videos of how the ride worked. So it was like completely brand new for me, and I was like pretty impressed with how they did it.
Nice. Oh, that's a really fun ride. Really cute. The sets are really cute. You know, it takes a few rides to kind of get used to the shooting because like basically wherever your head turns is where you shoot
that
at.
Took me the second time. The first time I had no idea that's how it shot it. So I was just like admiring all the rooms and my score was literally 0. Then I was like, I need to go a second time. I was like, I did not do that correct.
Well, 0 for too busy having fun.
There you go. Well, that's like George. He doesn't even put the headset on. He just goes like with it off, right?
It's like there's so much like going on that you have to move your head. You have to you look at the hologram things and then you have the actual set pieces. I just take the headset off and just enjoy the set as it is.
And this is
Nice.
what? Mario Kart?
Yeah.
Mario Kart.
But George's secret is he has a pocket full of meatballs, and then his other pocket he has breadsticks in. And when he gets on there, he just turns full blown Italian. You know what I mean? He's just like.
You do?
Yep. He does. He does.
Wow.
Absolutely.
A
Now-
pocket full
now-
of
now,
meatballs.
Kate-
Pocket full of meatballs.
Caitlin, did you get a chance to check out Secret Life of Pets? It's like one of my favorites.
Yes, it was so cute. I loved that ride.
Really good, right? Really, really good. Yeah, it's a
we
cute little
waited,
dark ride.
like an hour and a half, but that was the number one thing one of my other friends wanted to do. So we are like, all right, we'll make that the very last thing, so we could like wait, because like we had to wait outside for probably 30 of the minutes because they weren't letting people in. So I was like, I don't want to wait in the sun. So we waited till like the sun went down, and then
Tell them about your friend that was complaining about the heat.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't my friend. So we were
Like
waiting
in
in
what?
Indiana Jones and Disneyland, and it was 75 out because I checked the weather when I heard this.
Okay.
She was complaining that it was so hot and that it was humid, and I checked the humidity. And after I bought my Disneyland sweatshirt, I wore it the whole day. So I had my sweatshirt on, and I was like so comfortable, and she was like dripping sweat. But it was
Wait,
75.
75.
I
Oh,
checked
man.
the temperature because it was right when Disneyland opened, so it was like still early. But she thought it was
Kaitlyn.
so hot and humid.
Did you check the humidity on that day?
I did, yeah. It was 0% when she said that.
What? So
I
I
could do 75 degrees in the shade. Like that's like
that's nothing.
I'll do
Oh, that-
75 with like 50% humidity.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That'd be cool.
Oh my gosh! Now is she a Floridian, Caitlin?
So I didn't know this girl, so I don't know where she's from. She was just someone standing in front of me in line.
Oh,
I
okay.
said she's definitely not Floridian.
it's that
Yeah.
family from Colorado.
Yeah, right. She's coming from Colorado. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because 75 is not hot. That is
75 is
wild.
perfect. Yeah.
It's a dream.
Yeah.
It's a dream.
Wow. So overall, the weather.
Oh, the weather was phenomenal. It was truly perfect.
Yeah, Cali
Like I
weather. You
heard-
can't beat it.
Well, and I heard like in June, you guys they call it June gloom. That's what my uncle was saying.
Yeah.
And when I got there, it had just ended. So every single day was perfect. It was like truly, we could not have like come at a better time.
Yeah.
I think I only had one day of the June gloom. I think the rest of my days were.
How bad could June gloom be? What is that in California? Probably.
Oh yeah.
nothing.
So to give you an idea how uneventful our weather is.
Right? It rained.
Yeah. Ooh. No, we have about an hour and a half in the morning of cloudy skies.
And that's it.
In June. And so that's like a
gloomy.
thing, June gloom.
That's so gloomy. I don't know if I can handle it.
That's rough.
Oh, it's rough. It's rough.
Come to
Yeah,
Florida.
we had a whole month of that, Wow.
I feel so bad for you.
What is this? United Kingdom?
Right, I know it was wild. It was wild, but yeah, the weather, Cali weather though, is unmatched. I mean, it's like that. It's warm, but we don't have the humidity. We really don't even get rain. Every now and then we'll go through a little bit of a period where we get a little bit, but not much. We definitely don't get any snow, at least not out here. In if you go to the mountains and stuff, you'll get it, But yeah, so that was, I'm sure, a pleasant change for you, Caitlin, to get away from that humidity and that sticky.
Oh, it was so nice. We went to Malibu, and being able to tan all day and not sweat at all was like amazing. Because in
Interesting.
Florida, I would have immediately sweated like within the first hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wet. It's sticky. Well, it's like sweaty, sticky, and then it's rainy too. And it's like,
Yeah. Yep.
And then you have
know?
sand all over you, just sticking from moisture. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
Not in California.
Is anyone else getting turned on right now?
No.
Sure.
Living in Florida is basically being in the "Pour Some Sugar on Me" song. Like that's what.
Well, that's not. Well, what I was going to say was more inappropriate, so I won't say it. It's moist down here.
Moist.
There you go. There you go. Well said. Well said. So, so Kaitlyn, so it sounds like you kind of had a whole California experience. You had Disneyland Resort, you had Universal, you said Malibu as well. What other California sites did you see? Was that pretty much it, or did you try other stuff too?
We went to Beverly Hills one day to just kind of like drive through, see all the really pretty houses. We explored West Hollywood, and then I stayed in Glendale. So that's kind of where my base was at. And then we went to downtown Los Angeles for a day. I mean, I've done that before in like Sunset Boulevard, but it was all my friends' first times doing it. So we went there the first night just for them to like see it. Cool.
You guys go clubbing or anything when you're down there? Or not?
No. I'm like grandma. I don't go out and do that. They did. I just stayed with my cousins and chilled.
That's cool. Well, yeah, I used to do that when I was in my early 20s. There was actually a club out here. It's probably gone now because I'm way.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant sit with your cousins and chill.
Right. Yeah, no, there was actually a club out here that was 18 and over. I went to that one until I hit 21, and then I went to the 21 and overs. But then once I hit like 23, 24, I stopped going. But they're cool. They're fun. You know, George was a big clubber, right? George, you had like your sparkly shirt. You show your chest hair.
Oh yeah, when the
glitter,
the chest, when the chest hair comes on, it's like I mean business. I usually wear like the chest hair, my fedora, my shades, and it's like I just walk in there like I own the joint.
That's great. That's great.
But God, that was like. I mean, I still dress like that, but as far as the clubbing goes, that was years ago.
Nice. So, Kaitlyn, before we wrap up, anything else of interest in terms of your trip? Anything that like notable or interesting that you want to kind of share?
I mean, the trip was very interesting. Downtown Los Angeles was wild, but I feel like overall, I've touched all the highlights. I mean, Disneyland and Universal were our main thing, so that was like definitely the highlights of the trip.
Cool. Are you thinking about coming down again soon, or are you good for a while, you think?
I actually go 2 or 3 times a year, so I'm for sure coming back in October, and then I might be there in August to visit my family again.
Okay.
Maybe forever.
Nice. You thinking about moving? You're going to be Californian? Maybe?
My uncles, I mean, they love me, so they offered to buy me a house and get me a job if I moved there.
Are they adopting?
I mean, I'll do it if you don't.
Bye.
That's awesome. Yeah, the Italiano's looking to move out here to Cali as well.
I mean, it's so pretty. I mean, I've grown up going there like twice a year, so I've been there a lot. And every time we go, I'm just like, man, this is just like one of the prettiest states I've been to.
It really is. And honestly, as each time that I go, it's harder for me to leave. You know, it's like, I remember the first time I went, I thought, okay, this is completely different than, because a lot of times, like, especially being a greenhorn, you know, to traveling at the time, I'm thinking, okay, California is going to be a lot like Florida. And I mean, you got the blue skies and sunshine, no pun intended for Tiana, but when I got there, just like the temperature and the weather, I'm like, okay, this is a completely different feel. And then, the more that I, traveled out there, it's like, it gets harder and harder for me to end up leaving and come back to PA,
Yeah. I know. He's extending it.
Wait, are you anywhere near Scranton?
Oh, Scranton. Yeah. Yeah.
Just wondering.
Yeah. How close are you to Scranton? Am I saying that right?
Scranton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dunder Mifflin.
Yeah. It's about, I'd say maybe about an hour.
Okay. Now, if you heard me say Scranton and you didn't know I was from California, would you know I was from California when it says Scranton? The way I say it? Or do you guys say it differently, or is it like
Scranton? No, I think you said Scranton. Okay, now that I would say you sounded like you were from California.
Wait, how do Californians say Scranton different than?
I don't know, because George, you have a little bit of a PA accent, right?
Oh,
so I was wondering if
we have what's called Pittsburghese.
Yeah, so I was like wondering if like we say it different, like maybe there's a different way to kind of pronounce it.
Have you guys ever heard of the term "red up"?
No.
Red up? No.
Which red up? It means clean up. It like red up your room. It's REDD.
Like ready it up? Red up.
Sort of red up. Yeah.
Red up.
Red up. That's great. That's great. So you like when you were a kid, you would come in your room and be like, red up.
Red up. Yep.
Wow.
We know
That's
what you mean.
weird.
That is weird. That's
weird.
Oh, gee, that's gonna be super weird for you because you're on the West Coast and like that doesn't make it. You guys say clean up your room.
Yeah, clean your room. You know what I'm saying? and red up might be like a gang thing out here too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
Somebody says red up to you.
Well, I remember.
What the fuck did you just say?
I remember coming out to California, and I'm looking at a lot of people, and they use a lot of silverware for their food. Like they'll use it for their burgers. I use my hands. like everything they use like utensils for everything, and I'm like for burgers, for pizza, and I'm like, okay, this is like a cultural like difference. Like on the East Coast, we use our hands for everything.
Yeah,
so it's like,
oh, that's funny, man.
We're Cro-Magnums down here. We didn't get our utensils this evening until like right before our food was served. I was just like,
and we didn't even use them.
I didn't use them.
Oh, that's funny. Out here in California, we use a knife and fork for avocado toast and brunch. You know, we're very.
Of course, you guys do.
You know.
Tell us more. Tell us about the stroller dog.
Oh, the stroller dog. Oh, we got a lot of those out here. A lot of stroller dogs. Yeah, you go, especially out there. If you go to like where Kaitlyn was, like Beverly Hills and those little areas, there's a lot of little doggies and strollers and stuff. And we got a stroller dog. We have a stroller for our little dog because we have a little Shih Tzu who doesn't like to walk. You know, like
Ethel doesn't like to walk.
Right, the little dogs don't like to walk. They go like 10 feet and then they just sit there.
Yeah.
So we throw them in the stroller. You know. Do it that way.
I this is a really bad joke, but you know me with sarcasm. We actually did that for one of our dogs. Like just briefly, we had him like in a little stroller, and a woman came up and she actually thought it was a baby, and she was like, "Oh, let me see your baby." And it was another Maltese, and she kind of like got startled, so she jumped back because she was expecting to see a baby. And I said, I just looked up and without missing a beat, I was like, "See what tequila leads."
Oh jeez. Oh man, did she laugh or was she like?
Oh no, she laughed. Yeah. A lot of a lot of Pittsburghers get that sense of humor. So.
Oh my gosh,
that's good.
That's funny. George has a lot of funny stories. We'll save the Uber Eats story for another day, though, right, George?
Yeah. That'll be for our membership.
The membership tier, yeah, exactly. But
before we go, I have a question for Kaitlyn. You might have answered this already from when you were on before, but do you consider yourself a diehard Disney fan? Do you see yourself subpar? Like, where do you fall on the Disney bracket?
I'm definitely diehard. I've had an annual pass since I was 5, and for like 3 or 4 years, I would go at least once or twice a week. And me and my family, we grew up in a Disney household. Like we'd watch Disney movies every night. So we're very big Disney fans.
She goes more than I do, and we live in the same freaking town.
I go more than he does, and he lives in California.
Yeah, he does. Like per year, he goes more than I do. Like I go about once a month. But when he comes down here, he's here like every day at the parks, and he's here for like 3 weeks.
It's the curse of living by a park.
I get tired of Disney.
It's a curse of living by a park because I used to go to school. I used to go to school 2 miles from Busch Gardens, and we used to go on weekdays. As soon as we get out of school, we'd go ride Montu, Kumba, whatever. And after a while, I was just like, I don't care about Busch Gardens. Now we actually went. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And we had a great time, and it was sweltering hot, but
almost died.
But the Iron Gwazi was amazing. That was like riding on the outside of an F-14 Tomcat.
Oh my god!
Like just hang onto the wing and go.
Oh man, right up my alley, dude.
Calm and collected the whole time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Now, Miss Slimer, I actually can kind of. I'm a huge Disney person because obviously I got the Disney Channel and the whole thing. But I will say I do understand where you're coming from when you say that sometimes you get a little sick of Disney. Like I can't go. Like there's some people out here that go like every week or multiple times a week, and I just can't do that. I can't. That's Slimer.
I can't stomach that. Like, yeah.
See, here's the thing.
Really?
See, with me, I can do that, but it's very. I'm like in an odd place where it's like I'm in the middle, where I treat myself like a local, but I'm also a traveling tourist. So it's like I do enjoy going on the rides and everything, but
Yeah.
I live my life going to the parks like a local, even though I'm not. Where it's like I've been there so many times, I don't need to do everything all at once. I pace myself. Sometimes I just sit on a bench and I just people watch. You know, I like just soak in the atmosphere. Then there's days where it's like, you know what, I feel like riding today, you know, so I hit like Indiana Jones, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Matterhorn, like I'll hit the whole. And then there's days where I'm hanging out with OG. We go to the park for a few hours, go over to Grand Californian, have a sandwich and a beer, go back to the park a little bit, go back to the hotel, hit the jacuzzi. You know, that's my thing. That's how I do Disney.
Yeah, when he's with me at the parks, we hit like one ride, one ride. But how are you, Kaitlyn, with the parks? You go every week, or are you more like me, like once a month, or?
I was going every week until it hit summer because now it's like way too hot. But when it gets cool again, I'll probably go once a week. Like I love going to the parks.
Nice.
But I don't have to, since I go so often, like I might hit one or two rides, or a lot of times we'll just walk around and people watch, which is very fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, we've actually had some really good people watching sessions, right? I mean, we've had a lot of good laughs.
Yeah. And I love Disney. Don't get me wrong. I love it, especially Epcot. But, enough's enough sometimes. I'd like to go camping or somewhere else, the beach, the springs. I don't want every single weekend to be Disney. No, I don't want that.
Sometimes you got to mix in some Universal Studios
or not a theme park at all. In real life, nature is nice.
There you go.
Too.
There you go. Yeah, and I can see where you're coming from, Kaitlyn, with that, because I think if I lived in Florida, I would go more too, because you guys have such a different dynamic out here. Because out here in Cali, we just have the parks. Really, that's it. So, but out there in Florida, you have so many options. You can go to the Poly and chill. Like on the sand and like relax, and like you guys have all these activities outside of the parks. So it's like I feel like there's so much more to do. Like I would probably be there once a week too. I wouldn't necessarily be in the parks once a week, but I'd be at some resort, you know.
We go to, like me and my friends would go to Grand Floridian. We'll hang out there because that's just such a beautiful place to see. Or like the Polynesian. Yeah, we'll like resort hop. So that's always really fun to do too.
Nice.
That is fun.
That's almost just as fun, if not more fun, than going to the parks sometimes.
I like resort days the best.
Yeah.
George and I did that resort. We did a resort day, right, George? And that was like fantastic.
I love one of my favorite times is just going to the boardwalk. I love just walking the boardwalk, walking around to
that pizza
beach club. Oh, of course. You gotta love the boardwalk pizza.
Yeah, George has a boardwalk pizza story too, but we'll get into that later as well.
That's the membership access.
Yeah, it's a whole other can of worms.
But I do though. I do love the board. Like other than Via Napoli, honestly, the boardwalk pizza I think is one of my favorite on property.
Yeah,
of Walt Disney World.
Nice. Yeah, no, the resorts over there are incredible, absolutely incredible. Even the Poly pool was awesome. I was impressed where it doesn't have stairs. It's like that great. It's like
you like just kind of like walk like right into it.
Yeah, you know, we don't have anything like that out here.
And then you gave me that. Well, you didn't give me, but I didn't want to waste the drink because you wanted that souvenir mug.
Yeah,
I don't know what was in that thing, but
I got this thing, the Trader Sam. There it is, the Trader Sam's mug at the Poly, and I'm like, oh man, I was already like a few beers in, so I was like, I can't have another one. I'm good, and it's like hot. I told George, if I get the mug, you want the drink? He goes, yeah. He took it out, man. You would have swore I roofied this guy. He was so hammered.
He got so drunk he didn't feel the heat anymore.
Oh no, dude, yeah. The buttons got lower, and he was walking around. I mean, it was funny, George. That was really really
like every drink he took, one bun came off.
exactly. It was good times. Well, everybody, really really fun show. We will definitely, and I'm serious, we will definitely have an Impractical Joker show, because there's a lot to discuss with that for sure. For sure. But the Italiano, if you let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney music.
There he is. And down below, we got Mr. and Mrs. Slimer. Miss Slimer, it was awesome having you on.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You're always welcome to come back on. If we do the Impractical Joker show, you will definitely be on that one.
I'll be here.
Absolutely.
She will be the Impractical Joker.
if you could, Slimer, if you could let everybody home know where they could find you on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on X at SlimeSquare84. You can find me on Orange Grove 55 right here on YouTube.
There we go. And Kaitlyn, good to have you back. We'll have you on again very, very soon. If you could remind everybody where they can find you on social media.
Yep, you can find me on Instagram at Kaitlyn Aurelio.
There she is. Thank you all so much for watching. Comment down below with everything, anything that, on your mind that we talked about today, whether it be Disneyland, Disney World, Impractical Jokers, putting your dog in a stroller, whatever we talked about. You can
unbuttoning your shirt,
having too many drinks, boardwalk pizza, whatever we talked about.
Sand in the crotch. What the hell?
Exactly. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG55.
Like iced tea, I'm OG. Like iced tea, I'm OG. Iced tea, I'm OG. I'm demon like IT. Got more juice than high C.